Okay, cool. Right. Hello, everyone. Jason Cashman here, GB Grand Slam Commissioner, and super excited, to be bringing forms to the Grand Slam. On my far left is Sean McCarthy. He's the promoter of the K2 Grand Slam here in West Sussex, and none other than Chloe Bruce. She is heading up the form side of things with the Grand Slam. So the exercise of this video is, because we haven't yet had forms at the Grand Slam, is to give knowledge to everyone about the rules, about what's expected, and get it all up and running to create really grand event. So Sean, anything I know you've got to shoot off. Basically today we've been practicing what we need to do for the forms. We've been practicing on the system and everything else. And Sean, anything for people just regarding the event itself?
No, not really. I mean, most information's out there. So 28th is the forms divisions. We'll have a few inputs into the gala as well, but we'll announce that as we go. And well, we look forward to seeing you all. I'll leave these two to go through the rules. It's not really my strong point because I'm quite a competitor, but yeah, so these guys can break down the rules to you. We're all good to go. So I'm going to do a runner, so I'll have to go through the rules, and I'll leave you with these guys.
Sean has been working tirelessly to accommodate everyone. So if you've got any problems or anything that you need to know about the event or about the K2, where and what we're doing and everything, then Sean's your man, ready to help with that. And we do have a full technical side of Grand Slam as well. So anything to do with the registration, sport data or that, then our technical support can really help you with that. Chloe, it's great to have you back coming into forms because obviously you've been away doing your thing, as everyone knows. Is there anything initially you want to share from what we've practiced today? Because we've had a few students just practicing basically what we're going to do at the K2.
Not really, no. I think it's going to be a really exciting event, and hopefully we can see everyone having fun. That's what it's all about, and just enjoying themselves.
So what we're going to do is we're pre-recording this video, so you might be with the slide now or watching this at a later date. Feel free to send questions if you've not got the answer from this. What we found, or I've certainly found through this exercise today, practicing things, is it has put up a lot more questions than we had answers for. But what it means is we can go away, answer those questions. So come the day of the event, we have a real smooth running and, like I said, enjoyable event because we've all done the work beforehand. What I'm referring to here is the WACO rules. We're a WACO sanctioned event. Chapter 6, which is the form rules, page 107. So if you go to the official WACO website, I don't have it to hand, but if you just type in WACO kickboxing, Google it, it'll come up. Go to the rules page, you can download the loose rules. And as I said, it's chapter 6, page 107. During the pandemic, they updated all the rules and it's all into one cohesive rule book. We're going to, through this exercise, put together a shortened version for the GB Grand Slam rules because the WACO is aimed at international only competitors. There's a lot of rules that don't apply as we are still a national competition, even though our entry level is that of international. So the rules are taken in part from the WACO rules, but not full restricted to. So the first thing, definition-wise, a form is a sort of imaginary fight against one or more opponents in which the performer uses techniques coming from Oriental martial arts. Is there anything more you'd like to add to that, Chloe? I suppose everyone should understand the form. I think a real good exercise with this as well. I teach at my dojo forms, kata. We're a traditional karate school, that's our background, as well as the sports side. And I had a number of students come down today so that we could practice this exercise. But we're really excited to open forms to everyone out there. And those clubs there don't currently practice forms. We want you to know what the rules are, what's involved. You might have some people that are gymnasts or have a gymnastic background or experience that leads well to forms, or you might have dancers, those kind of things. We want to basically just give the opportunity for more people to be involved. And I know myself, I spoke to you about this, Chloe, is we want to open up the sport to include all. And one great USP of our sport is that it doesn't matter how old you are, men, men, women, all ages can participate in our sport. And I think one thing for forms is we could potentially look to, in the future, introduce additional needs divisions and things like that as well. So I'm both excited about having. Right, I'll edit that in once we're done. So yeah, well, I was just saying. So the bringing everyone involved is a big part of what we're doing this for as well. So age categories, in case you wasn't aware, these are WACO age categories as per the fighting disciplines as well as the tatami ring and forms. So children is 7, 8 and 9-year-olds. Young cadets is 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Older cadets is 13, 14-year-olds. Juniors 16, 17, 18, and seniors 19 to 40. They are the age brackets that WACO defines. Anyone under the age of 7 will be entered into a child division, and anyone over the age of 40 will be entered into a senior division. We don't know who we have competing until everyone's entered. So once we've had a season or a competition, we can then look to tailor the divisions more, to split it by grade potentially, or ages more, and such like. But it's going to be for this particular one, wait and see, and then we can go from there. The divisions are then split into creative forms, which the code is CF, musical forms, which is the code is MF, and traditional forms, which the code is TF. If you're not familiar with sport data, you can look at it, this is the registration system, and be a bit like, what's going on? But it is really understandable once you get there. So the division list on sport data is creative forms, creative form with weapon, musical form with weapon, traditional hard style form, so traditional kata, traditional soft style form, the patterns, and then traditional form with weapon. And we're not breaking the weapon hard and soft at this current time. And then there is a grand champion. The way that we are doing the grand champion is anyone can enter the grand champion division. You can bring any of your form choice to that division. And open age, open everything. We will be selecting some winners to perform on the gala show. So the way that our event works, Saturday is all tatami, fighting, points, light con and kick light, and the forms. So that's on the Saturday. Saturday evening will be the gala show, and then Sunday is all the point fighting. So forms, everything is happening on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday at K2, Chloe's going to be doing a meet and greet at midday. We've got a separate conference room where you'll be able to meet Chloe and then do a question and answer about the day. We want to get as much feedback as we can, and Chloe wants to give feedback back to everyone else of how what was scored and how we move forward ultimately in a really constructive and positive way, and build this whole form community as well. You know, there's a lot of fighting superstars out there and clubs. We want to build this community and welcoming clubs into the form side of things as well. So, Chloe, regarding the age categories or divisions or anything else, it's pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward, yeah.
So, performance notes. So, like, if you go to the general rules, there is a lot to break down. I've started collating some notes from it from where I've just highlighted. Performance notes, just to make sure everyone is aware, if you're competing in musical and creative forms, the separate divisions, then you must perform a totally different form. So just if people are preparing that form, there you go. So clothing need to know this. So you must form a completely different form. So you can't just do your open hand and hold a weapon and say, for instance, do karma with the same form for musical.
Musical, open hand, and creative.
Yes. So you can't do the same creative so for instance, you can't do the same form across 3 divisions or 4 divisions. So you can't do a creative open hand like this and then do it with calmers, and then do it without music, and then with music. It has to be a different form for each division. Okay, so that's one thing before everyone starts, registering for every division to be prepared for. Uniform wise, any recognised kickboxing attire uniform, such as traditional kimonos or V-necks, is finally acceptable. Obviously, clean and decent state. Competitors must wear a belt or a sash, depending on your discipline, but t-shirts are not allowed in forms. It must be a recognised martial art uniform. Competitors are allowed to wear sweatbands on arms or wrists. However, they're not allowed to wear any jewellery or piercings of any kind, and a deduction will be given if that is noted, seen. So the forms rules do go down in detail. Anything else uniform-wise? Let's say there, Chloe. No. So, if anyone's got any notes at the end of this, then do shout out to us. Just a note on weapons: each competitor is responsible for the perfect and safe state of their weapon. The chief referee may ask to inspect the competitor's weapon if they wish to do so. So understand that might be asked. No sharp weapons, please. I put that as a given. Right, yeah, imagine that someone turning up with a real thing. So yeah, no sharp weapons.
The old school one on the right.
For your own safety and safety of others. So that play, just a note there on those. Time limits. We were practicing today across the different divisions and disciplines. We've decided there will be no time limit on traditional form. Because some competitors, especially some of the younger competitors learning pin and kata, we're not going to, as an example, because that's what we're doing today, we're not going to penalise them if there is a time limit for that. And likewise, some more intricate and advanced forms do take slightly longer as well. So traditional form, we've chosen no time limit for this event. But for all other divisions, creative and musical, with and without weapon, is a 3-minute maximum time and a 1-minute minimum time. And this is from the start of your presentation. So when your name is called and you bow and then you walk out to present your form, that's when the timer will start, which will be visual for everyone. And then when you finish the form at the end, music finishes, that will be the stop of the timer. There is a deduction of point if you go over or under the timing on that. Anything else? No, with that side of things. So the competitors will be scored on the content within their form. So I'm reading straight from the rules here. This means good techniques, good hand kicking combinations performed with clean, sharp, precise movements. And then, of course, if it's a weapon division, the manipulation of the weapon, the skill, the difficulty. That is how the divisions are going to be scored. Anything else on the scoring side of things from that point of view? Like we had someone today, we were saying about the shouty side of things. Maybe good feedback that was said with that.
I just think if one person shouting and PIing more than another person, then I don't think they should get marked higher or lower for it. I think we should just see through unless it's obviously aggression. So if they're really lacking performance, then obviously that's a slight markdown. But if they're just using the shouts to make noise, I think we need to see through that. And we're just going to literally look at technique, stances, precision, focus, and everything else that goes into the final mark of your form.
And if you go through the rules in detail, there are minus points for loss of balance and things like that. So again, we'll follow up with this. We've come with a lot more questions than we thought. So we'll follow up with this with a full breakdown of it. And it will be a learning curve with the forms. And that's why we're going to have a meet and greet on Saturday, on Sunday rather, so that we can go over these things as well. The area size will be a 9 by 9. So the space at which you have to compete on will be a 9 by 9 meter area. So, for the tricks or the aerobatics in the musical stuff, you will have that space to accommodate. And then I've gone through scoring, we kind of touched on there. Some of the, as I said, details, they relate to international, if we're going through the rules in particular. Just mentioned about, these are the criteria for the judging that Chloe's just said. So basics, balance, degree of difficulty, manipulation, or mastery of the weapon. Competitors, this is a point to take, competitors who do tricks, gymnastic movements within their performances will be judged from a manipulation of the weapon first, then the tricks, gymnastic movements. Competitors are allowed to start with their weapons on the floor, but once they picked it up, they cannot then put them down again, otherwise, deduction points. Then onto the dropping of the weapon. The following is not considered as a drop if you place the weapon on the tatami before you start, as I just said, and then pick it up. Picking up a second weapon during the form, as long as it is being brought in and presented during the presentation, is allowed. Dropping a weapon is considered losing control of the weapon during the manipulation if it falls on the floor. For instance. So does that kind of make sense? I think we could go into a lot more detail, but it makes sense on that.
And it does say 2 drops and then the disqualification. Obviously, we did say if it's young kids competing, we're going to let them finish their form and just mark them down slightly. So
we're going to approach all of this with sensible score at the end of the day, and really encourage, the participation and a positive, growing environment with everything. Where are we? So minus points, things to be aware of. Points will be deducted. I've highlighted something here. So yeah, there's different ranges. We're going to be here all day to go through every single thing. So I'm going to list all of this out. So the referees will be fully up to scratch and know where they are. Basically, your deducted points for dropping weapons, for losing balance, for those kind of things. Further points will be deducted for wearing jewellery, as we've already mentioned. 5 releases, that's a point that needs to be made. So you can maximum of 5 releases. There's somewhere in here, and it's 5 gymnastic movements, so that keeps it straightforward. So you can't keep doing somersaults. 5 gymnastic movements, 5 releases. Dropping their weapon a second time would, as you said, be straight disqualification. And a note for the musical swear words, if they're heard in the music of the performer, they will also be disqualified. So make sure that we've corrected the music if needed. So the categories, as we've gone through, and there's specific rules for each one. So let's get to the creative forms then. So a creative form is a sort of imaginary fight against one opponent. We've said that. So the difference is creative forms cannot use music of any sort. So we've got creative open hand, we've got creative weapon, and the creative form is a form without music. No gymnastic techniques are allowed. Only one kick up or flick up is allowed. No inverted techniques are allowed. The following movements are not permitted. So you cannot do anything that is more than a 360-degree spin. So in creative, you can do a spinning hook kick, but you can't do a 720, for instance. Any movement there involves the body inverted more than parallel to the floor. So you can't do a forward flip or backward flip, you can't do a cartwheel, those kind of things found in gymnastics in creative. What is still allowed, as long as it's kept horizontal, is a butterfly kick, butterfly twist, illusion kicks. These are the only tricks or kicks that can be used in the creative forms. So did what I just say make sense for creative forms? Musical forms, has no limit on those. So in musical forms, open hand and weapon, you can obviously do the full 720s, 540s, you can do somersaults, you can add everything else then, with the manipulation of the weapon, etc. But still only 5 gymnastic moves and 5 releases. So it doesn't just become a performance of twirling a baton or a gymnastic display. Then the traditional side of things, I think that's what everyone's going to be most, or I will anyway, be understanding. Traditional form with a traditional background. And the WACO don't recognise on the international, they don't have traditional forms. So this is something that we will make sure is listed out fully. What would be your opinion of a gymnastic move or a release or such like in a traditional form? It doesn't have a place. No. So no gymnastic, no releases.
I mean, ideally a traditional form should be from a traditional background, which is a pre-made form. It shouldn't even really be choreographed. You know, everyone comes from a traditional background, should have a form syllabus, and you just choose one of your traditional forms, and then that's what you perform on the day. I don't think it should really be pre-choreographed form.
Every event we've had since pandemic, especially with the break that we've had discussions over novice fighters, novice competitors. It's something that is will always be I think if we lay a line, that's what it is. And then when we come to a situation, we discuss it. So, for instance, at the last Grand Slam, we had someone that was arguably not a novice fighter. However, that was our first competition. It was COVID. They've been training for 2 years, but that was our first competition. So it's just a sensible conversation to be had. So let's see if those things come up in the traditional side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I've competed for many years, and everyone normally only does a traditional form from a traditional background, so it shouldn't really arrive.
So a number of these things we'll post out beforehand, but I hope that's enough to get you started if you're looking to enter the forms or to just correct maybe, so you're not being penalised when you do. We made a load, I'm just going through the notes that we made today. We made a load of notes about the organisation and the running side of things. Everyone's used to real smooth, well-organised events that we perform. We started out of dojo actually with sport day and with fighting. Now we're progressing the form, so we're looking forward to really good things. I don't see anything else that comes to mind we need to really bring up here more people about. Joe, you came to our last event. Is there anything we've not said there on your list that immediately possibly comes to mind?
Firstly, how many judges are going to be on the day?
So it's again, we don't know where we're starting with competitor entries. So in Telford, our event was 600 starts fighting, and then in Bath this year, so next event that followed, we had 1,200 entries. So how many we're going to have? We've seen overnight increase. So if we have, say, 200 entries, we can accommodate that, but we're going to probably have less referees across the board. If we have fewer entries, then we'll be able to do it in one. It all comes down to logistics. Bare minimum, each area will have 3 referees, bare minimum. We're aiming for 10 referees, for 5 referees an area. And then the highest and lowest score, the system that we use is then taken out. From my perspective, I feel that avoids biasness and misinterpretation of the score. So the highest and lowest is taken out. If then that score, the remaining score is still the same, the system automatically picks the highest, lowest score as the deciding on the place. It is obviously possible, especially when you have fewer referees and less of a range of scoring, to have a complete draw. If that was to happen, then we would go to a signal of hand, both competitors up, and a signal of hand for the judges. Have I explained that as we were going through today? So does that answer your question, Joe? If you got Joe, did that answer about the judges?
Yeah, that answers the question. When you draw, if a competitor draws, do you ask them to perform again, or would you be bringing in those 2 scores again?
No, we decided if it is a complete draw, so let's say, for instance, first and second both score an accumulative score of 50 points, perfect score over 5 judges, then both will stand up, and then the judges will be asked to give a definite decision either way. Like we could start saying, oh, they come up and compete again, but then do they have to do a different form? And then do they have to, we feel on this occasion, we're going to go hand if it is a draw either way.
Do you have an issue with my headset at the moment? I'm struggling to hear you guys. Just trying to sort something out here. How to...
If anyone else is online, if you want to unmute yourself or stick a chat, something in the chat, then feel free to. We'd happily answer. Have we got you back, Joe? We'll give Joe a couple of moments if he comes back to us. And yeah, so I was really looking forward to it.
Just doing change something here.
The fighting has been really awesome. The level, the standard that we've got in this country, and I know it's out there with the forms as well.
I do too. I think it's just a case of bringing it back, but also reintroducing it to schools that may never have seen it or don't know where to start if they wanted to. So I think it's really good to have, or especially the meet and greet on the Sunday. For anyone that's thinking of doing it or would like more information, I think it's just a really good place to start. And like you say, we want to pay for everyone, and hopefully everyone will have a really, really good day.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got parent competitors next to us actually. Any questions from you? No, not yet. Oh, good. This has been successful then. So right, Joe, last chance. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Got a couple more questions.
Okay, go for it then, Joe.
Gymnastic moves. Obviously, people do round off back somersaults. Would that be classed as 2 moves or one move it in together as it's linked? Would be 2 moves. Yeah, just checking that. And obviously the creative forms. I was quite shocked when I saw B twist allowed in a creative form because it. You hear me?
Yeah. Well,
I don't think that should be there, Joe.
No, it shouldn't, because creative forms, from my perspective, is for the category of the students that can't do the flips.
Even JC said there shouldn't be more than a 360. There shouldn't be a 360 rotation.
Yeah, in the rules it says butterfly kick and illusion kick, which I agree they should be allowed. But the B twist, you're literally going in the air and doing a full 360 spin and then land on your feet. It's a quite extreme move.
I agree. That should be in there.
No, it's in the WACA rules allowed a B twist, and I think that shouldn't be allowed in creative forms. Butterfly kick, I agree, because the head's up, the legs are there. But a B twist is quite an advanced move, and I think it shouldn't be in the creative forms. There's just a few things in the WACA rules I've read, and I'm not sure that is warrant to be in that category. That's all. I think this is for another day to discuss before, like you say, making up the GB rules yourself and putting the WACAs and making it merge. So possibly something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for that, Joe, and highlighting that. We're going to use the WACA rules as a template because ultimately that's who we're governed by. And there are a number of things from my perspective on the fighting side I don't particularly agree with or like. And I think sometimes we just have to accept where they are. But there is means and channels. So I've already noted it here. That's something that I will bring up with WACO specifically. And maybe it is going to be a change in the future.
And the only other thing is the sound system, because obviously you have sound systems for the mats with people with the headsets talking about being getting to the areas, facilitators. Obviously, people choreograph their forms to music, specifically for beats and the music, hits and their music. And my pet peeve at tournaments is when someone's on a mat, the forms music goes up, and then suddenly there's someone to jump on the microphone to say someone needs to come to this area. That person can't hear the music, and so are you gonna have 2 separate systems on the day for the forms competitors and the mats, fighting mats? And what are your thoughts on that?
So this is something that we've really considered. So first off, in the beginning, we decided whether we wanted to have forms in a different arena, in a different hall for the fighting. So that was the first consideration. And we felt that we wanted to keep it in the same arena because it is the same competition.
Yeah. Agree.
The straight answer, the straight fix to what you've said is if you put it in different halls, there's no conflict whatsoever when the sound is coming. But we felt that moved away from what we're all about, and we wanted to keep it in the same arena. So we've made the decision that we'll keep it in the same arena. We have someone specifically for audio visual, and they're going to create 2 separate systems.
That's good. Yeah.
So if I just drew a picture of the hall like this, on the Saturday there's going to be 6 tatamis for kick light and light on team and open weight. They're going to have their own speaker system pointing that way. All of the tables will be mic'd up to that, and then the areas on this end with forms will have their own speaker system pointing that way. So of course there's going to be a conflict, but with the music played, you won't have someone come to area 2 suddenly come over the bit.
That's exactly what we want to avoid. Yeah, definitely. So are you going to have 2 areas of forms on the day?
That currently, right now, we've got it planned out for two areas. If more entries come, we either have to cap it, depending on the entries of the kick light, the tatami fighting, or we spread over onto those areas. But at the moment, we're anticipating 2 areas for forms.
Obviously, on the day, at least, they've got a lot of age categories.
Yeah.
Are you going to merge, if say one competitor's in youth cadets, music open hand, and there's 1 and 2 in older cadets, music open hand, would you be merging them together for that person to have a competitor to compete against, or are you going to keep them separate regardless?
Is exactly the same as the fighting divisions. So the forms is not divisions, it's not first competition, so it's not part of the league. When it's part of the league, if the person is the only person in the division, then they can take the points for that division for the league. So next year, if you're the only person in that division, you take the points, you take the win, you take the trophy, and then we will give you an opportunity because it's beyond your control. Let's say someone didn't turn up on the day, it was beyond your control. We'll give you the opportunity then to compete up, from cadets to juniors. In this sense, we sort out all the single starts beforehand. It's the beauty of pre-registration and closing it a week before. So all the single starts, as we do with every event, everyone is moved up accordingly or moved across accordingly. So yes, everyone will be guaranteed a start. If, for instance, we only had 1 female creative weapon competitor across the whole spectrum of divisions, then prior to the event, a week before, we will message the club coach or the competitor and say, you are the only person, so there is no division, and then they are either going to enter something else, or it saves them a wasted journey, shall we say.
Fantastic, awesome. And you said about the Forms Grand Champion, you can just enter that, so you don't have to win your own division, you can enter it straight away.
Yeah, unlike some of the US events, as an example, it's the winner of every division, isn't it? And it goes into the Grand Champion. Myself personally, I felt you could have basically the same Grand Champion in the Grand Champion if they win everything, kind of thing. So we wanted to open the Grand Champion to anyone. All ages, it's an open, and basically it's a showcase, isn't it? It's the best of the best of what we got, like we do in the fighting. We want to give the forms the same platform of the fighting. It's not, there's the fighting, let's do a bit of forms. It's like, there's the fighting, there's the forms. Everyone is on the same level then.
Fantastic. Yeah, awesome.
Anything else, Joe?
Team forms. I've had a few of my students talk about team forms. I know that's not on the category list. Is that something you may look into adding or for future?
100%. It's we're looking to add it. We're not doing it yet. What we found to be really successful with our venture of the Grand Slam so far is small steps. So we only introduced a team event last year, and we now look back and think, why didn't we do team event beforehand? But what it meant is we grew to that. We were able to take it on rather than take on too much in the beginning and basically have a poor show, or from our delivery point of view, not from the competitors, from our delivery as the Grand Slam team. Let's nail this. It was difficult enough today, wasn't it, Chloe? Just doing 15 people in an area here. So we know what we're doing now. Let's make us know what we're doing, and then that. Also tricks, battle, you've got bunkai, there's so many divisions that when you just look at the US division list before. Really excited about that, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, it's going to be a great day.
Also with the gala, there is going to be a break between the day event and the gala. There's like an hour and a half between. We're sorting out food and things that people will be able to get at the centre, or obviously people go out and come back. at the start of the gala, we want to welcome the forms people. It's not going to be a division, but to do a bit of tricking before the gala starts. So we'll start welcoming in everyone at 6 o'clock. Gala starts at 6:30. We'd like forms people to come at 6 o'clock, use the area, show a bit of tricking and that kind of thing, and you know, yeah, warm up, get the crowd going.
Sounds good.
Well, thanks for your input, Joe. Thank you, Chloe.
No worries.
Ready to be GB Grand. Catch up with everyone in a few weeks, end of May. See you all later.